By September 1940, Britain was battered but not beaten. The Luftwaffe had attacked convoys, ports, radar stations, aircraft factories, Royal Air Force airfields. The first great raids of the Blitz, especially in London, had killed nearly 7,000 British civilians and wounded over 10,000 more. German leaders still hoped Britain could be forced into submission, but the key question remained unanswered. Why had Royal Air Force Fighter Command not collapsed? The familiar story often focuses on pilots and aircraft, Spitfires twisting through the sky, Hurricanes attacking bomber formations, young men racing to their machines as the scramble bell rings. That story is true, but it is incomplete. The Battle of Britain was not just a series of dogfights. It was a battle between systems. Britain's first advantage was early warning. The chain-home radar stations along the coast could detect incoming German formations before they reached land. This gave Royal Air Force Fighter Command time, and in an air battle, time was survival. But radar did not identify everything perfectly. It could not track every movement inland, and it could not win the battle on its own. The second part of the system was the Observer Corps. About 30,000 volunteers made up this civil defense network tracked Luftwaffe aircraft crossing inland, determining their altitude, direction, and strength. Once German aircraft crossed the coast, radar became less effective at tracking them inland. Thousands of observers, many of them civilians, watched the skies, identified aircraft, estimated height and direction, and reported what they saw. Their work helped keep the picture alive after the raiders crossed into Britain. Information from radar and observers flowed into filter rooms, where reports were checked and combined into a usable picture. Then it moved to group and sector operations rooms. On large plotting tables, aircraft positions were marked and updated. Controllers made rapid decisions, which squadrons to scramble, where to send them, and when to commit precious reserves. This was the Dowding system, named after Air Chief Marshal Hugh Dowding. Its power was not that every part was perfect. Its power was that every part was connected. Radar, observers, telephones, control rooms, sector stations, pilots, and ground crews all formed one defensive machine. This gave Britain a crucial advantage. Royal Air Force fighters could be sent toward incoming raids instead of wasting fuel on standing patrols. Squadrons could climb to meet the enemy at the right place and roughly the right time. In a battle where aircraft range, pilot fatigue, and fuel mattered, efficiency was a weapon. The Luftwaffe often mistook visible targets for decisive ones. Bomb a radar tower, and it might look destroyed, crater an airfield, and it might seem unusable. But many radar stations were repaired quickly. Runways could be filled. Squadrons could be moved. The system bent under pressure, but it did not break easily. Another overlooked factor was the Hawker Hurricane. During the Battle of Britain from July to October 1940, the Royal Air Force relied on about twice as many Hawker Hurricanes as Supermarine Spitfires. At peak strength in August 1940, Fighter Command fielded roughly 700 Hurricanes across 33 squadrons against just 370 Spitfires and 19 squadrons. The Supermarine Spitfire became the icon of the battle, and for good reason. It was fast, modern, and excellent in combat. But the Hurricane was more numerous in Fighter Command during the battle and carried a major share of interceptions. Often, Spitfires engaged German fighters while Hurricanes attacked bomber formations. The legend of one aircraft hides the reality of a team effort. Britain's defense was not built around a miracle weapon. It was built around combinations, Spitfires and Hurricanes, pilots and controllers, radar and observers, aircraft and repair crews. Britain also depended on ground crews, while roughly 3,000 pilots, the few, a common synonym, fought in the Battle of Britain. They were supported by hundreds of thousands of RAF ground personnel, later called by the public the many. These fitters, riggers, armorers, and mechanics worked around the clock, with an estimated ratio of 20 to 30 ground crew supporting every single fighter aircraft. Every sortie required refueling, rearming, repair, and rapid turnaround. A fighter that landed damaged could be patched up and sent back into combat. Mechanics worked under bombing threat, often with little rest. The air battle in the sky depended on men and women working on the ground. Aircraft production mattered as well. Germany hoped to grind down fighter command, but Britain was producing fighters at a rate that made this difficult. Lord Beaverbrook, Minister of Aircraft Production, pushed output aggressively. Damaged aircraft were repaired and returned. Civilian industry became part of the battle. The greatest shortage was not always aircraft. It was trained pilots. During the Battle of Britain from the 10th of July to the 31st of October, 1940, the Royal Air Force lost 544 fighter command pilots killed in action. The Luftwaffe suffered much heavier casualties, with over 2,500 German aircrew killed. Britain needed men who could fly, fight, survive, and return. New pilots often arrived with limited experience. Some were sent into combat after rush training. The pressure on squadrons was intense, especially in 11 Group in southeast England. The group suffered approximately 250 pilot deaths and significant attrition. Training schools could not replace them fast enough. A damaged aircraft could sometimes be repaired in days. A trained fighter pilot took far longer to replace. This made every rescue, every successful bailout, and every returning pilot deeply important. Britain did not fight alone. One of the most important and sometimes underappreciated facts of the battle is the international character Royal Air Force. Pilots from Poland, Czechoslovakia, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Ireland, Belgium, France, and other nations flew in fighter command. Some had already fought the Luftwaffe in Europe and brought valuable combat experience. Polish pilots became especially famous. Number 303 Polish Squadron, flying Hurricanes, and 34 Polish pilots assigned to it, became one of the highest-scoring fighter command squadrons during the battle. Despite joining the fight late in the battle, flying Hawker Hurricanes, they destroyed 126 German aircraft in just 6 weeks. Their success challenged early doubts about language barriers and integration. For many of these pilots, the fight was deeply personal. Their own countries had already fallen under German occupation. Meanwhile, the Luftwaffe faced its own hidden weaknesses. Its intelligence often overestimated Royal Air Force losses and underestimated Britain's ability to replace aircraft and keep squadrons operational. German crews reported victories, but aerial combat claims were frequently exaggerated by all sides. Commanders believed fighter command was closer to collapse than it really was. German aircraft also had role limitations. The Messerschmitt Bf 109 was a dangerous fighter, but its range over Britain was limited. The Messerschmitt Bf 110, intended as a heavy fighter, struggled against Royal Air Force single-engine fighters. German bombers were effective, but vulnerable without escort. The Luftwaffe was powerful, but it was not designed for a long, independent strategic air campaign against Britain. Then came the 15th of September, 1940. The Luftwaffe launched 2 major daylight attacks against London. Royal Air Force rose in large numbers to intercept them. The fighting was fierce. German losses were significant. British losses were serious too, but fighter command still stood. The concentrated attacks involving around 1,500 aircraft against London and the Thames estuary. Royal Air Force shot down around 60 German aircraft, while losing about 30 of their own. The day later became known in Britain as Battle of Britain Day. Its importance was not that it ended the air war immediately. It did not. Raids continued, the Blitz continued, people continued to die. But the 15th of September showed that the Luftwaffe had still not destroyed fighter command. If Germany could not win air superiority, Operation Sea Lion could not realistically go ahead. On the 17th of September, Hitler postponed Operation Sea Lion. The invasion threat did not vanish overnight, but the decisive window was closing. Germany would continue bombing Britain, but the chance of a cross-channel invasion in 1940 had passed. The Luftwaffe had failed to achieve the one result it needed most. This is why the Battle of Britain matters far beyond the number of aircraft shot down. It preserved Britain as a base of resistance. It prevented Germany from knocking Britain out of the war in 1940. And it kept open the possibility of future Allied operations from the British Isles. That base later became vital for planning the invasion of Normandy. The battle did not win the Second World War by itself, but it prevented one of Germany's most dangerous opportunities. But victory came at a cost. British cities endured bombing. Civilians were killed and wounded. Families slept in shelters. The Royal Air Force lost 544 fighter command pilots killed, with over 1,000 aircraft destroyed. The German Luftwaffe suffered significantly heavier casualties, losing approximately 1,887 aircraft and around 3,336 aircrew killed. But over 23,000 British civilians were killed on the ground. Firefighters, rescue workers, doctors, nurses, and volunteers faced the consequences night after night. The story of the Battle of Britain cannot be told only through pilots and aircraft. It also belongs to the people under the bombs. The battle changed how Britain saw itself. Churchill's famous phrase, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few," captured the public memory of the fighter pilots. But behind the few stood the many radar operators, plotters, mechanics, factory workers, observers, anti-aircraft crews, rescue services, and civilians who endured the Blitz. The less-known truth is that Britain survived because no single point of failure brought the defense down. Radar could be damaged, but repaired. Airfields could be bombed, but reopened. Squadrons could be exhausted, but rotated. Aircraft could be lost, but replaced. Pilots were precious, but the RAF drew strength from Britain, the Empire, occupied Europe, and beyond. For Germany, the problem was deeper than tactics. The German Luftwaffe lost approximately 1,887 aircraft and suffered over 2,600 aircrew killed. The Luftwaffe had fought bravely and often skillfully at the tactical level, but its campaign did not produce the conditions required for invasion. It misunderstood parts of the British system, changed focus at critical moments, and operated under range, intelligence, and coordination limits. The sky over Britain was contested, never conquered. The Battle of Britain became one of the defining moments in 1940 because it showed that Germany could be resisted. After months of defeat across Europe, Britain had survived the first major campaign, fought largely in the air. The invasion did not come. Royal Air Force Fighter Command endured, and the system that kept Britain fighting became one of the most important defenses in modern military history. In the end, the Battle of Britain was not simply a story of British Spitfires against German Messerschmitts. It was a story of warning, coordination, endurance, repair, production, and international resistance. The Luftwaffe came to break Britain's air defense. Instead, it discovered a system built to absorb shock, recover, and fight on. If you want more stories like this, hit like and subscribe.